Hey everyone, today I'm going to start on the install for the rear sway bar in the 300. So far I just got it jacked up on the quick jack and got the rear tires off. In the previous video I did the front sway bar and it was pretty easy, it wasn't too bad, but it made a huge difference. Would highly recommend it. I'm kind of glad I did them both separately so I can see if there is a huge difference from doing the front and the rear or just doing the fronts, or what really makes a difference. I'm already on BC Racing coilovers, so it's dropped about an inch and a half, I'd say. Just the front alone was really substantial driving, and it was great. So I'm hoping this makes close to or near as much of a difference as the front. So first things first, I'm going to be taking off the exhaust. You got a 13 bolt right there and 13 right there, and then I have to come up here and use a pry bar and pry the rubber holder on, because it looks to be welded to this bracket up here and up there. So yeah, so I'm going to separate it from here with my 15. I'm going to try and leave the mufflers on and see if it'll clear. I think it will. They are aftermarket. It looks like when it's going to come down, it should just miss them once the pipes are off. So yeah, that'll be it. It'll be the 13s, 15 pry bar, and then on to the next step. The exhaust is out. It was a bit of a pain just to get off of this guy right here, just to pry it off, but it went. It was just tough doing it lying down. Everything else was pretty smooth, and I just put this box behind me there just so that I don't damage the tips if I accidentally drop it. It was just a precaution. But other than that, yeah, it was pretty easy, and now we're going to go on to the next step. So the next step is just taking off the brake line bracket right here. It's tucked up behind here, but you can get it with a 10mm wrench. I don't know if you can actually see the nut or not, but it's not too far. It's easy to reach. Both sides brake line bracket are loose and free now, so if they need to move, they can move. Now I'm just going to go to where the sway bar connects to the end link and disconnect that there, which is a 16mm nut and a 15mm bolt, and then we're going to do that on both sides. Next step is then just disconnecting these two wheel speed sensors here. If you look, I've already pulled them out, but just take a flathead screwdriver and push the red tab out to unlock it, and then you should be able to separate them. Got them both disconnected. Now that it's easier to see, you want to pull this red tab back. Right now it's pulled all the way back, and you just want to push down and then pull, and it'll disconnect them. Easy peasy. Up next, we gotta take the two bolts out on each side for the upper suspension mount, and then we'll be moving forward from there. Here I got my jack with a couple pieces of wood underneath the diff to hold up the rear end, and I got a couple jack stands here just for extra measures just in case. And then what I'm gonna do is, since I've lowered the quick jack to the first setting just so I can actually get the height here, I got this set up, so I'm gonna loosen off each corner of the subframe and then just bring the quick jack up a little bit. It seems like it might be a little more convenient for me to do it that way. So I'm going to do that, get a few inches or as much as I can so I can get the sway bar out. and then I'll show you the difference between the two before I put the new one back in. That's all 4 bolts done. Now I'm going to cross my fingers and slowly raise up the quick jack and see if I can get the sway bar out. Here I can reach where I need to go to get the sway bar disconnected, and then see if I can wiggle it out. As you can see, the Pez garage is quite a bit bigger than the stock one. I didn't think it was this much bigger, but yeah, it looks good. And over here we got our adjustments, which will be loose, medium, and tightest. And I'm gonna set it to this one here. Stiffer the better, I guess. We'll see. Yeah, so now I'm gonna slide this guy back in and put it all back together. I'll also point out, because I should have said before, like the stock one weighs next to nothing, where the Pez garage is beefy. It's heavy, so I'm getting a little more excited about doing it and thinking it's actually going to make a pretty big difference. Alright, so sway bar's in. It's all snugged up now. I'm just going to lower the car back down to the subframe slowly and then line everything back up and put the subframe bolts back in first, and then just kind of make my way back in the steps until the car's back together. Well, my battery died while I was working yesterday, so I got the 4 bolts back in, tightened up the subframe, and then I got the upper shock mounts back in, and then the bracket for the brake line on both sides are done. Now all I gotta do is put the 2-speed sensors back in and put the exhaust back together, and that should be it. Alright, wheel speed sensors are back in, and just to show you guys what I do with the exhaust, I got the 213s back in first, shoved the pipe in, and it was really hard to get it back into the piece of rubber that's welded. Hold on, we get a light. Up in there. So what I did was I just put a C-clamp on the rod that's supposed to go into it, and then on the actual rubber piece itself, and just tightened it until it went through, and it worked out pretty well. Seemed a little easier than just really trying to force it with the pry bar. I just got the driver's side exhaust back on. It was a little bit tougher than the passenger side. Maybe it was just the way it was sitting, but this was a little bit tight to get in. But other than that, we did that. We got the speed sensors done, so basically that's that. That's the whole install for the sway bar, which you can see kind of way up there. The install wasn't too bad. It went a little easier than I thought it would, but I was also trying to be extra careful and really taking my time, so doing it a second time would be a lot easier and knowing what you're kind of getting into. If you have the equipment and you think you can do it, you probably can. It's really not that bad. It's just a little bit intimidating when you know you gotta drop the subframe. But with a couple jack stands, even though I had the quick jack, it was a lot easier, but you could definitely do it with a couple jacks and jack stands and whatever else. It'll work. So hopefully this helps you guys, and hope you have a great day. Take care.